Welcome to Young and Finch, the podcast created by Korean millennials.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Young and Finch podcast. This is episode 37, and I'm here joined with Brian and Andrew. And for this week's topic, we are excited to have a guest for this episode. She goes by the Instagram handle PlantMahMah, that's MAHMAH, and she has quite the social media presence. She has 18.1 thousand followers on TikTok, 29.4 thousand followers on Instagram, and most importantly, she is my close friend and a new friend of the pod, Tiff Mah. Welcome to the show.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for having me on, guys.
Welcome.
No, super stoked to have you.
Thanks for coming on.
And thank you for clarifying that my last name is MAHMAH. People miss that.
No, actually, I just to interject right off the bat, I actually saw an Instagram account called PlantMahMah, just MAMA. I don't know if that's like a copyright infringement, but whistleblowing right there. But yeah, so I mean, obviously you have a huge social media presence, and your reels and your TikToks are crazy. But for people who might not know you, and some of our listeners who aren't familiar with your account and your content, would you be able to give us a quick little intro about yourself?
For sure. Okay, so like Josh was saying, my name is Tiffany Mah, also known as PlantMahMah. I'm a plant consultant and environmental engineer based out of Toronto, Canada. I create content on both Instagram and TikTok to educate people on houseplant care and the challenges of plant parenthood. Mostly my content is geared towards like beginner plant parents and whatnot, but honestly, it's like plant care for me has been such a form of therapy and self-care. So I hope to like share that across my journey on Instagram. But yeah, that's a little bit about myself.
Nice.
No, I love that. I love plant parenthood. That's like a pun in itself.
Plant parenthood?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny because people will say like, for millennials, plants are the new pet. Like people aren't having children as much anymore. So it's like plants are the new pet and pets are the new children.
Interesting. I think, I don't know about you guys, but in my, I guess not immediate circle, but people around me during COVID started going, and again, Tiff, I'm sure you can attest to this, but during COVID, people started going crazy over plants. Is that something that actually happened, or was just my circle?
No, 1000%. Like it's a trope that's like talked about a lot in the plant community. Some people will be like elitist about it and be like, when did you start plant parenthood? Like, was it during COVID or pre-COVID or like whatnot? But yeah, like I think that because of the pandemic and people were forced indoors, people really craved interaction with nature, and the only way they could really do that was bringing nature indoors through the form of houseplants, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like that was that caused a huge increase of the uptake of plants within houses.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. So many of my coworkers are talking about plants, and they're like doing these like plant trades in the department, and they're always talking about plants. So personally, like I don't know too much about plants, but I love to get to learn a lot from this episode. But seems like there's a very large amount of population that are into this hobby.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I think what the nice thing about plants as a hobby is that it doesn't discriminate. Like it can be any age, any background. Like if you're into plants, like you're going to be my friend because we have so much in common already.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely a really interesting community to be a part of.
Yeah, I think it's also fun to grow plants because, I mean, like Brian, I don't have a lot of experience. And like the only experience I have is to the extent of growing, green onions. Right? But
put
like,
it in water?
At your windowsill?
Yeah, exactly. No, but even that, like seeing the progress, right, was interesting.
Yeah.
So like imagine if it was different types of plants, right? So I could see the like the growth aspect, putting like investment of time and because you have to water it every few X amount of time.
Yeah.
You see the appeal.
Yeah, exactly. I see the appeal. Exactly.
Yeah, I think just for the record, none of us are plant experienced by any means. I think I had a basil plant in university and it died. So yeah, hoping to pick up a few things during this episode as well.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
But I guess the first question, just because I've heard your story before, but Andrew and Brian, as well as our listeners, probably aren't aware, and maybe even some of your listeners. But how did you get started with the whole plant? I mean, now you're a plant consultant, plant stylist, but how did you get to that point?
That's a good question. Okay, the origin story, I guess.
Yeah.
Growing up, I was always surrounded by houseplants. Like my grandparents, they are the OG plant parents. Like literally, I was a kid playing around in the dirt while they were gardening, like massive veggies just all over the place.
Oh,
Josh,
love that.
Josh, I feel like you've seen my dad's garden. Like you can attest
definitely.
you can attest to how he definitely has the green thumb. But yeah, I like my own personal journey with plants. Really started growing in 2018. In 2018, just to give some context, it was my last year of university. It was a really difficult year for me because, well, one, I got a concussion, a traumatic brain injury in February of 2018. And then shortly after, like maybe a month later, one of my best friends passed away. So it was two really traumatic events that happened within a short period of time. And if you're not really familiar with like how a concussion can affect a human, like especially because this is my second traumatic brain injury, the symptoms were quite bad, like to the point where I had to isolate myself for like a week, and like from the doctor's orders, like I couldn't stimulate myself in the sense that like, I mean, like day-to-day life is very stimulating, right?
Yeah.
You have your phone, you have your computer, you have your TV, whatever. Like I literally had to sit in my bedroom and not do anything. And
Damn.
for someone who is like very into, I mean, like we're all just like overstimulated all the time, right? So to just be forced into that type of isolation like that, and to not be able to do any of my normal routine was really difficult for me. And especially because like, I mean, we're millennials, we're on our phone quite often, we're on our computers quite often, right?
Yeah.
24/7.
Yeah, exactly. So because of that, like I had to find other ways to occupy my time, right? It was middle of winter at that time, so not much to do, especially in Waterloo.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking like, okay, I want to be able to do something where, like I wanted to be able to do something where I could be around nature, but at the same time, it was like the dead of winter, right? So I looked up some local greenhouses and nurseries around me. And honestly, I remember so vividly, like the first time I stepped into that greenhouse, because it was like I was transported into a different place altogether. I was so like connected with the plants, the nature all around me. Like it was just such a surreal experience. And honestly, plant care, like plants for me was truly the gateway to healing for me. Like I told you about the traumatic events that happened that year.
Yeah.
It was evident. It was kind of inevitable that I would fall into a deep depression at that point. And plants were like that crutch for me, because the only thing that really got me out of bed some days was knowing that I needed to take care of my plants. Like, and that's a really common thing within Planned Parenthood, because plants are like a reflection of like how you care for yourself sometimes. If I'm neglecting my plants, I'm likely neglecting care for myself too.
Damn. I mean, really sorry to hear all those things that happened in 2018. But at the same time, I'm glad that, plant was like a source of, I guess, motivation and, a reason for you to just kind of keep moving forward.
Yeah, absolutely. It honestly, like looking back on 2018, like I feel like I've made my peace with that year. But honestly, if that all didn't happen, if 2018 didn't happen, like I would not be where I am right now. Like I would not be where I am in my business. I would not be where I am in life. Like I'd probably be still working in a corporate job 9 to 5.
So what was the first plant that you got?
Very first plant I got was a snake plant. It is a very beginner friendly plant.
I know that
so
one.
I highly recommend that one.
Snake plant. I got to write that down.
Yeah.
Knowing me, I'll probably kill that.
Snake plants are like notoriously like the go-to beginner plant just because they don't need that much light to thrive, and they kind of thrive off neglect. So it's good if you're not like a overwater or anything.
Sounds like snakes. Sorry.
What the? So that at this point, just coming out of 2018, you opened the doors to the plant nursery and the greenhouse. You're like, it's a new life. How many plants did you have in your repertoire at that point?
So that day I walked out with like 5 plants maybe.
Jeez.
3 of which are still with me, thankfully.
Jeez.
2 of them rest in peace, but that's okay. Plants will die, that's okay. But yeah, I really dove deep into the hobby. Like I really dove deep into it because it was something that was like occupying my mind and time and brought me joy. Yeah, it really did help me heal.
Yeah, I'm sure this question was gonna come up, but I'm just gonna ask anyway. Like, how did it transition from a hobby to like a full-time thing? And like, when did you realize that potential? I guess.
That's a really good question. So I started off my plant Instagram. So that was 2018 that I was telling that whole story was 2018, right? I want to say I started my plant Instagram page, PlantMahMah, in end of 2018, I want to say. Either end of 2018 or early 2019. And the reason I started that page initially was because I felt like I was annoying all of my personal Instagram followers. Because I kept posting about my plants and like no one cared. And I was like, I feel like people should care about this. And I feel like I need to find my community of people who would care about this.
Yeah, definitely.
And like, that's how I started off my plant Instagram. I started just documenting my own process and growth through plants. And I was able to find my community there. I feel like I started taking it more seriously. Let's see. Let me think about this. How did it really become full time? Oh, okay. Okay. So, I'm gonna spit some facts on you guys. So
spit, sister.
So, influencer marketing as an industry is projected to be a $16 billion industry by 2022. It's projected.
Wow.
And even in 2020 alone, I think it was like a 40% increase from 2020 to 2021. So, money aside, like it's a huge industry, right? I had no idea that I was gonna, like, when I started that plant Instagram, I had no like intention of becoming a plant influencer or whatever.
Right.
It was really just literally to share my journey with plants, right? It wasn't until like I feel like I started getting some traction from followers and my community being like, I really resonate with what you said about that plant, and not just like plants in itself, but like the fact that I was really shedding light to things that people don't usually talk about on their plant Instagram, like it being like a curated feed of like the perfect pristine plant. And I feel like that translates into, Instagram in itself. Like it's always that highlight reel, right? And I was really showing like the nitty gritty of things, and people really appreciated that. And it really was like an outlet for me to express that creativity of myself and just be real, right? I started seeing more traction on like TikTok and Instagram, saw that I kind of had like a knack for content creation, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the one big opportunity that really was like a defining point for me was when Home Depot Canada reached out to me to do a campaign.
Damn.
Sheesh.
Whoa.
Yeah, it was really surreal. Like I was like, shit, like, sorry, can I swear on this?
Yeah, of
Yeah.
course.
Okay. I was just like, damn, I can't believe I'm getting exposure like this. Like it was wild to me. Like it was beyond my like wildest
Power
dreams
of
to like,
social media.
honestly, man.
Yeah,
like
it's crazy.
honestly.
Yeah.
The fact that like I was headhunted, like, and like they saw something on my page and wanted me to create content for them, like gardening content for them.
Damn, that's dope.
It was honestly like such a great opportunity. I learned so much from it. And it really just kicked off from there. But aside from that, because influencer marketing is a part of what I do, but being a plant consultant as well, as I was gaining a following and traction, a lot of people were coming to me sliding into my DMs with a lot of plant questions, right? Like to the point where it was kind of overwhelming.
Yeah.
And like I've always wanted, like my mission with my Instagram page has always been to make plant care more accessible for everyone. And that's how I kind of went down the route of plant consulting and plant styling. But yeah, I hope that answers your question, Andrew.
Yeah, no, it did. It I guess it just very naturally happened.
Yeah.
Like, and then you had like a really big bang with Home Depot, which kind of kickstarted off it, everything. Right.
Exactly.
Okay. Cool.
Yep.
Yeah. No. Did you see a, steady growth, exponential growth after that Home Depot exposure, or?
Honestly, I think my growth started before Home Depot reached out to me. Like for my content creators out there, hop on IG Reels, hop on TikTok, like that. Like video-based short form content is just king right now.
Right.
Yes.
I honestly attribute a lot of my growth to that.
When did you start
but-
doing TikTok?
When did I start doing TikTok? January of 2021, so just this year.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And like TikTok is much, like the growth I saw on TikTok was much faster than I saw on
Really?
Instagram.
Yeah, TikTok's like crazy
Interesting.
right now.
TikTok's like TikToking right now.
All I can think about TikTok is like those like dances, like those like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, for sure. I feel like everyone, like when they think of TikTok, they just think of teeny boppers dancing.
yeah.
And like those silly trends, but it's honestly like it's a really good platform, and I think that people miss it, like are sleeping on it if you
Interesting.
think that it's just like Gen Z's dancing, because
Yeah.
it's a lot of that.
I feel like a
Yeah.
lot of millennials shy away from it because they were first exposed to those dances by Gen Zs. But I know TikTok has, tags that they could look into, like specifically, right? But like,
What do you mean tags?
Oh, like genres. Like, let's say they want to look into
Oh,
like,
yeah.
sports,
Like
right?
search tags and
yeah,
stuff.
search tags, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so even for myself, I'm like hesitant to get TikTok because like I don't want to see like Charlie D'Amelio.
She literally
Dance.
never shows up on my feed unless it's like someone roasting her.
Right. My point being is like I was like that's what TikTok represents to me.
Right.
So it's
right.
like, but I should get on it. I heard it's like really good for other
It
stuff
is.
too.
It is, especially like because like coming from me, because I had all the what's the word? All the sentiments that you guys are expressing now. Like I thought all of that, but like being on TikTok and being a content creator on there, like it really levels you up as a content creator because
True.
well, first off, like the algorithm is so much better than the Instagram algorithm in the sense that the whole like pay to play type of thing with like Instagram and Facebook.
Yeah.
Like organic marketing is hard, right? On Instagram and Facebook. Whereas TikTok, like you could literally create an account, post a video, and you have the chance of going viral tomorrow.
Oh, really?
Like, and I'm not kidding you. Like people that happens all the time.
Interesting.
And it's almost like a lottery ticket system. Like if you post a video, each time you post a video, you have a chance of going viral.
I bet.
Do they use like tag systems too, like Instagram, or are they more like lenient in terms of like promoting new content?
Lenient, very, very lenient. Like, I think the way that I'm not an expert in this, but the way that the algorithm has been explained to me for TikTok is that, and it's similar to Instagram, but I think the organic reach on TikTok is just far surpasses Instagram. But say you post something, it first gets shown to like maybe 100 people within your local area. And if it passes like a play rate, then you get moved on to the next stage and the next stage and so on and so forth, right? So it's very easy for you to like gain traction, and I wouldn't say it's easy to go viral, but it's easier than on Instagram, I guess.
So it's kind of like a ripple effect. It's like if it hits those numbers, like those play counts, it'll just hit a wider and wider like number of people and just keep going in that kind of sense.
And the other thing is that like with TikTok, like I was saying before, that the organic reach is just insane with TikTok, right? Like on Instagram, when you post something, like maybe 20% of your followers sees that, right? Like with the algorithm, they always boost whatever they want to boost.
Right.
Whereas on TikTok, like every single video I post, like I reach new people? I reach a new community. Like it's not just shown to my followers. Like it's on your FYP, on your For You page. Like you could show up on someone's For You page and you'd be easily discovered, right? Whereas like it's hard to kind of get organic reach on Instagram.
Right.
Yeah, once Instagram updated their algorithm where it's like before even the homepage used to be chronological and now it's all fucking wacky shit, dude. Like I see stuff for like it's like 5 seconds ago and then it's like a post from 3 weeks ago. I'm like, what the fuck is this? And there's so many ads now.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Holy shit.
A lot of ads. I mean, I'm okay with that because I get money from that. But
all right, guys, I think we're gonna have to start a TikTok account now.
Yeah, you guys do. Like if you get anything from this episode, start a TikTok.
TikTok.
No, I just don't want to be like Buddha peace.
All right, if any listeners want to see Andrew go viral on TikTok, DM us on Instagram and we'll start an account for him.
Yeah. No, sorry.
True.
I mean, to be fair, I have never once danced on my TikTok.
Not yet.
I still have a.
Not yet, Tiff.
Not
You're
yet.
gonna do Tootsie slide with 2 monstera plants in your hands, bro. I swear to God.
Yo, viral video right there.
I have a question. In terms of your current, I guess, technical title as a plant consultant, plant stylist, I think from conversations with you, it's kind of a role that you kind of like created and kind of grew into organically, seeing as how things were shifting with your plant sales as well as social media and things like that, and what you want to do with in this industry, right? But for people who don't know, like, what does that mean? Like, what do you do as a plant stylist and a plant consultant?
Good question. Very good question. Yeah, I feel like not me personally, but like I feel like the plant niche in general is such a new and upcoming field that like most people don't really know what plant consultants do, right? But me personally, what I do as a plant consultant, so I mean, an array of things, but generally speaking, if say Andrew wants to get into plants, right? He knows he wants to get into houseplants, but he doesn't want to kill them. He wants to be able to style his home, bring nature indoors, but he just doesn't really know where to start.
Right.
That's kind of where I come in. I come into your home. I assess like your lighting, your lifestyle, and recommend a set number of plants based on our consultation, so that it really thrives in your home and your care, because everyone's environment is so different, everyone's lifestyle is so different. So it's a very like curated type of service that I provide. And then so like think about interior decorating, but
Yeah.
with plants, right? Just as like an interior decorator would come into your home and kind of give you a design proposal on the type of furniture pieces you would get based on like your aesthetic and whatnot. I do that, but with plants, and yeah, I do that with plants. And then the plant consulting side of that, I also offer virtual consultations, just because my following is not just like locally based. Actually, majority of my followers are from the States. So being able to offer that virtual service and being able to help plant parents around the world has been really fulfilling for me. So, you know, people can schedule, people from Dubai, like I literally had a client in Dubai schedule a 1 hour consultation with me, and we just went through her problem plants. I walked her through different types of plant care tips. It's really to help my clients and their plants thrive.
It's interesting. It's like, in terms of like a business perspective, I guess that's a better bang for, like, if we're just talking like money, that's probably the better bang for your buck, because you're getting paid then based on experience and knowledge as opposed to like a product, right? And that makes you a lot more valuable. But that's super interesting. It's like you're really just curating like a system and like a schedule that works for them based on whatever they give you. Like, you know, I'm working 9 to 5 and you know, I'm this busy and I have 3 dogs and whatever. So
exactly. Like I literally take all that into account, because I'm not going to recommend non-pet friendly plants, or if I know you're away on work a lot, then I'm not going to recommend high maintenance plants either. Right. So it's really curated to the type of lifestyle like my clients have, right?
Yeah.
That's a sick job.
That's super sick. Yeah.
Thank you.
It's like such like a unique and like such like an original role, you know, like a job, work, life.
Yeah.
What were you doing before?
I studied environmental engineering in university, so I was a environmental engineer at a engineering consulting firm.
So it's kind of similar to what you're doing now, or is it completely irrelevant?
Kind of irrelevant, because, so, I mean, environmental engineering has a lot of different sectors within it. I was in the municipal design sector, so I oversaw like a lot of municipal projects in terms of like more civil engineering based. But I wouldn't say that like what I learned in environmental engineering doesn't directly correlate, because I feel like there are some tidbits that I like. Well, I think the biggest takeaway from going through hell of engineering is the work ethic.
Discipline. Yeah, probably.
Discipline.
Enough.
Work ethic was a huge
problem
huge
solving.
part of it. Problem solving, critical thinking.
All that BS.
All that definitely
BS.
translates.
Hey,
I just call it BS, but it's like it does help you with all that stuff. But I just personally just call it BS.
all right. I see you, Andrew.
No, I mean it's just, you know,
To each their own, right?
Yeah, to each their own,
I
right?
was playing.
I think another like difficult part of that is that, like, for me, I think if I was to like tell 2020 Tiff what was gonna happen, like, entrepreneurship is such a like wild ride. Like, it's, well, first, being your own boss is just a journey in its own. I think people sometimes like glamorize quitting your 9 to 5 and like pursuing your side hustle as your main hustle.
Right.
But people don't always shed light on the really difficult parts of entrepreneurship. Like it's kind of a lonely journey sometimes. It's being your own boss is difficult. No one like if I don't want to wake up at 9 a.m. and get to work, like no one's gonna fire me because I'm my own boss. Like I'm not gonna fire myself. But like you know, like I was never a morning person, but like when I was working my corporate job, like I had to get up or I would get fired. I had to show up to work every day or I get fired, right?
Right.
So I think like, I mean, I feel like maybe not everyone has this tendency, but like being able to like have such a free schedule, but also being able to maintain some structure or some semblance of structure is important to like, just important for yourself in general. Like it's been really difficult for me to navigate that in some ways.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe because I'm just conditioned for the past 27 years to be part of a system, but like it's just it's a difficult part that like I feel like not everyone talks about in entrepreneurship.
Yeah, for sure.
Would you say your work hours increased or stay the same or decreased?
I work like I've seen like so many memes about this because I follow a lot of like different entrepreneurs, but like people will be like, I quit my 9 to 5 to work 24/7.
Yeah, that's the reason I'm asking, because I saw that.
Yeah. And I feel like Josh can kind of attest to this because like I in the beginning I was hustling and grinding quite a lot.
Yeah.
Like to the point where I like kind of retreated from like social activities because I was just like grinding so much.
You're locked in.
Yeah. But I feel like I've been able to find a happier balance, a better balance, because I think what made me feel like I needed to work 24/7 was the conditioning of like I need to be productive all the time. I need to be hustle and grind, and I need to do all this so that I can be successful, right? Like it was like I was working in a proving energy, whereas like what's the point of that? Like I got out of that rat race. I don't want to get into another rat race, right? So just being more mindful about that and knowing that like my job is not a typical job. Like I'm pursuing my passion. Like I am really passionate about this, and just being mindful with my time about that, because why make my job my 24/7 life when, you know, there's so much more to life than that.
Right. So I guess it's safe to say you found a nice balance.
Still working on it, but yeah, I don't work 24/7 now.
better than before.
Let's say ballpark like 60 hours a week.
Yeah, just you know, casual 60 hours.
Yeah.
True.
In terms of your interactions with clients, because I think that to me is like the most interesting part of like I guess your current like job in terms of what you do. Oh, one of the many things that you do, of course. But as like a plant stylist and a plant consultant, I was wondering if you had any funny horror stories or bad clients, because I mean they come, you know, every industry, every job has bad customers, bad clients, and things like that. I just wanted to see if you had any good stories.
I have been quite lucky, and I haven't like experienced any like Karen type of clients, thankfully. And I think I'm lucky in those regards, because I feel like if someone is coming to me and has like plant questions and like wants to hire me for those type of services, like it's a very intimate type of service, right? Like I'm coming into your home, I'm curating like plants for your home, like, right? It's a very like personal experience, I feel. So like I have like good working relationships with all of my clients. I think, yeah, like I'm trying to think if I've had like any horror stories, but like nothing really comes to mind, which is good. Like I think that you're totally like right that like every type of industry does have those type of people and like bad experiences. I've been lucky to not have that, but I've definitely had my fair share of negative experiences in my entrepreneurship journey. And I wouldn't say that it's like clients, it's more so like what I do with influencer marketing and having like brands completely lowball me or not respect me as a content creator, not respect my craft, not respect my art, trying to gaslight me and like tell me that I'm there are some horror stories in terms of like influencer marketing and brands not knowing the boundaries, or not respecting my boundaries. But yeah, in terms of like my job as a plant consultant, thankfully, no.
Yeah, well, that's good to hear. Yeah, I mean, once you get into like marketing and advertisement and, you know, like sign like what is it, like sponsored deals and stuff like that, I'm sure that's where like the corporate hand wants to squeeze out as much money as they can, right? So
right.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, I'm always one to support small businesses because I'm a small business myself, right?
Yeah.
But when they try to come to me and be like, give me like a list of deliverables, like an insane list of deliverables, they want me to post this, and that, and then be like, I'm a small business, like, we're a small business, like, could you do all this for free? And I'm like, bitch, I'm a small business myself. If anything, I'm smaller than you. Like, so it's just like the audacity of some people, some brands.
That's tough.
Yeah. Go ahead, Andrew.
I had a question to, kind of relating to what we were just talking about, but like, in such a unique field like yours, how do you know like your worth and like how much like you charge your clients? Like for our like traditional field, right? You could just go to Glassdoor or something, right? And you could gauge the level. Mm-hmm. But like some I figure like something like a field like yours, you can't really find. It's not really out there, right? So like I'm just wondering how we could. Like, how do you value yourself and find out that value?
That is a very excellent question, Andrew. I am so glad you asked that. Because it was like a whole journey for me. Like, it was a whole self-worth type of journey because if I don't know my worth, like, why would my clients, like, be willing to pay if I don't know my worth, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And they could lowball you too, so.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And like not only clients, but like also brands who reach out to me for sponsorships. Like if I don't know what my content and my creation and my craft is worth, like they could completely just lowball me or scam me, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting that you pull up or you mentioned Glassdoor because I remember those days of like co-op days where you're trying to like, just trying to make sure that you're not getting the lowest pay or something, or you're just trying to gauge where you can position yourself in the market, right?
Yeah.
Especially with like you said, with plant consulting and just this niche being such a, this job being such a niche field, niche industry. Yeah. It definitely was difficult because I had all those questions. I'm like, how do I price myself, right?
Yeah.
I started like trying to like when I was doing my initial research, like I was seeing like what other like similar fields do, like in interior decorating or any type of other home services, right? And like just seeing, because like it's a similar business model, right?
Right.
And also just seeing like what other online coaches are offering too, because like I feel like the world of online business coaches is like a huge field in itself, but like right, and like I have a business coach myself, and like she has been such a like powerhouse and like she has been such an influence in my life in the sense that I now charge what I feel like I'm worth. And before I had so much like imposter syndrome being like, oh, I can't charge that number because I, didn't go to, I'm not a professionally trained botanist. I'm not, this and that. I made excuses for myself.
Right.
And I was completely lowballing myself. And there was a time where I was charging like very minimal dollars for my services. And I felt like it was so misaligned because the amount of work and time I was putting into these projects was not at all aligned with the prices I was charging. And so I feel like anyone who's like kind of starting out in a more newer niche field and is trying to figure out their pricing, I feel like you will find out your pricing through the process of working, honestly, because you're going to realize that like, dude, I'm getting paid like less than $10 an hour. Like this isn't even minimum wage for the amount of hours I'm putting into this project, right? And I feel like for anyone who's like kind of struggling with their worth, like you really just have to realize that like, even if you charge like high ticket prices, like you will attract those type of clients because that's what you're open to, right? Like if you chokehold and like stay at that lower dollar price, like you're going to attract lower dollar clients. Like it's just a different clientele.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Right?
Right. So
you only get what you negotiate, right?
Right.
Yeah. It's like you're doing a disservice to yourself by pricing yourself at what you think is like reasonable.
Exactly.
It only hurts
Exactly.
yourself, right?
Exactly. It's a disservice to yourself and a disservice to your clients too, because if you're, lowballing your own services, it kind of seeps into the services that you're providing to your clients because you subconsciously know that it's worth more, and like not all of your your energy is not aligned with like what you're doing, it can sometimes bleed into those client interactions, and I don't want that. Like I want like between me and my client, like they are paying for a service and I am providing that service, right? That at the end of the day, that's what that is. And the quality of my services is worth a quantity, right?
Yeah, for sure.
I think another thing that I wanted to mention is like with negotiating and stuff, like I was like Josh, like in this last year, I've just grown so much as a human being because like I was never one to really like negotiate pay. Like I was like, especially when it comes to like, and I'm sure you guys can all relate to this because like, I mean, I don't know, especially as an Asian woman, like in this field, in a STEM field, like when I was working in STEM as well, like I was not always like, I just was like timid to like even renegotiate contracts. Like it was always such a nerve-wracking experience sending back that offer letter with like an email being like, is there room to negotiate, whatnot, right? But now I feel like I completely like have stepped into my own worth, and like I know what I'm worth. If you're not going to meet me there, goodbye. Like, see you later. And this is not for clients. This is more so like in terms of brands and sponsorships, because like I feel like I hold myself to a higher standard, and like I want my brands and collaborations to meet me there.
Definitely.
So I think my negotiation skills has improved drastically in the last year because of the bullshit I've had to endure.
Yeah, I mean, negotiation is a really good skill to have. So
yeah, but no, that's we love to see that, and
pay dividends going forward.
Yeah, for sure. The you raised a good point that I want to touch on a little bit too, as your experience as a not only an Asian Canadian business owner and social media content creator, but also as a woman. I mean, again, I'm not too sure about like the intricacies in the current plant market demographic, so I can't really speak on that. But just in terms of, I guess, your experience overall, like how has that been? Because for those of you who don't know, Tiffany's background is from Hong Kong. Right?
Chinese Canadian. Yep, my mom's
Chinese
from
Canadian.
Hong Kong and my dad's from mainland China.
So Chinese Canadian, CBC for those of you who don't know.
Yes.
But yeah, what's your experience been like especially with social media and stuff like that? I feel like a lot of things have changed recently, especially within the past couple of years, especially for like us Asian Americans, Asian Canadians. I think we've been shown in a much more positive light recently. But just want to hear from your experiences a little bit.
I think I was saying like at the beginning of this podcast about how like I think plants as a hobby, like it really doesn't discriminate, and it's great because it's such a diverse set of people within the house plant community. So thankfully, like I have not experienced like any racism within like my career as a plant consultant or on Instagram even. So whenever I'm like sharing about, like sometimes on my stories, I'll just like randomly show up, and sometimes like my mom has been in some of my stories, my Instagram stories, and like she'll be speaking Canto, and then like I'll have like followers DM me being like, "Oh my God, are you Cantonese?" Like people, like a lot of people don't even know that I'm Chinese, right?
Yeah.
And then like just being able to connect on that level with some of my followers is just so like special because, I mean, I grew up in Hamilton, so it's a predominantly white neighborhood community. And it wasn't until I really went to Waterloo and went to university that I like started seeing other people who looked like me and really embracing my culture. So to have that be so openly embraced and welcome on my Instagram page is just so nice and just so special. And just like it's fun to be able to share that side of me, because I feel like growing up maybe I inherently like tried to hide it, but now I like fully embrace it.
Mm-hmm. I think how you started your business like during the, I guess you start like the business kind of started during COVID, right?
Yep.
A lot of, you see out and hear a lot of stories of people like quitting their 9 to 5 and pursuing their passion.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think it is because of that, like being a factor, like everyone encourages you to like try your best and follow what you're doing, because it's like not everyone can do it, right? But yeah, no, I think it's good. It's something that I think a lot of people will be jealous about, because like it's like, you know, making money off of your passion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Is there someone that, I think you talked about this before, but is there someone that like that you had like a mentor figure that just kind of helped you out along this process, or was this just through, you know, trial and error kind of thing? Or
so the beginning was more trial and error. It was, I'm not gonna lie, it was all me, baby. But I do have a business mentor that I hired and have worked with for the past like 3 months or so. And she's been incredible, but she's not in the plant niche. So she's not even in the plant world. She's like purely a business coach. So in the beginning, like it was quite difficult to navigate like everything by myself.
right.
Especially just, I mean, like everything, like it's so overwhelming being a business owner, because not only do you have to wear the hat of, I mean, being a plant consultant or whatever you want to go into, right, as a business, but you have to wear the hat of like CEO and janitor and everything in between. Like I'm literally doing everything for my business. So just not like, there are so many little things that you may not factor in when you're starting a business, and it's a lot. It definitely tests you as a human being.
Right. But I'm sure it's all worth it for you.
It's extremely fulfilling. It's extremely fulfilling
exactly.
to be doing something that I love.
Exactly.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
Not everybody can say that. So
yeah.
congrats.
Thank you.
This is one more question. I guess this, you don't have to answer this question. It's a little bit more personal, but like, is there one challenge that you just kind of had to work on during this entire process, and like something that you invested your time in learning, or you know, was there like this hurdle that you had to go through when you were like doing this business? If that makes any sense.
Kind of. Like, give me an example.
You mean like aside from like the plant?
Yeah.
Aside
Maybe
from,
like
the plants
marketing, or maybe like how you like advertise and get yourself out there, or
Okay.
yeah.
I think traditionally, like, I think a lot of businesses. Okay, no, I'm not going to speak for all businesses, but I feel like marketing is usually like a big factor in a lot in a lot of businesses succeeding or not. Well, no, okay, reaching masses or not, right? But for me, because I started off on Instagram and I started off from like the social media side, like that was like my strength. So that definitely came in handy. I think if I was to choose something that was something that I had to work on and improve, it's definitely mindset. Like mindset was a huge thing, and self-worth was a huge thing. We kind of touched on this before, but I think just stepping into my own as an entrepreneur, like I didn't even see myself as an entrepreneur. Like it was hard to call myself an entrepreneur, because sometimes it felt like it was still a side hustle. Sometimes it felt like, what the hell am I doing? Like, how did I just start this career out of nowhere? Like, it was a lot of intrusive thoughts and like negative thoughts would come up. And I think mindset is just such a huge thing, especially because like this business is like a soul extension of myself, right? So it's just like, if my mindset is not good, like how can I expect my business to be good? You know,
Just gotta do it. Keep moving.
And what's some of the things that you do to improve your mindset?
That's very good. Very good question.
Sorry, I'm going a little deep here, but do you do like meditation or do you I don't know, self-care? Because I think you talked about mental health in the beginning too, right? So
Right.
Yeah,
I think it could be beneficial for a lot of people that are listening to.
definitely. And we've also touched on mental health before too. So, you know, love to
Especially
hear that.
nowadays with COVID and everything, like everybody's fucking cuckoo.
Yeah.
Well,
Especially-
I wouldn't say cuckoo, but like, you know, struggling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, could you pose the original question again?
Just like, what were some of the, I guess, methods or therapy or like self-healing that you engaged in?
Right. So, I mean, plants, 100%. Like, a lot of people say plant care is self-care, and I completely, like, abide by that. Because, like,
Right.
I mean, there's just something,
Infinite
like,
loop.
yeah, like, I mean, you guys are beginner plant people, but, like, sorry,
We're
beginner
noobs.
gardeners. I don't know.
We're like lower than beginner.
Negative.
Negative.
Yeah.
We're like potting stage right now.
You're in the seedling stage. It's okay.
Exactly.
Everyone's on a different part of their plant parenthood journey, but like you guys have kind of you guys see the beauty of like seeing a plant grow, right?
Yeah,
Like, you
no, I-
see-
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
I said in the beginning, I definitely see the appeal to it.
Right.
Like, if I had a bigger place, I would get like plants. If I had a balcony, I would
That's
get
an
plants.
excuse, Andrew. You can start today.
Nah, my place is like less than 500 square feet. So
Dude, that's not an excuse at all. I live in a 500 square foot apartment with like 100 plants.
no, but like I don't have a balcony and I have a dog. And if you see my place, like you'll trust me.
Well,
like,
if you
won't
call
find it.
1-800-MAMA, you can get a plant consultation. First 20 minutes is free.
Oh, I remember my question that I was gonna ask in the beginning. Okay.
Wait, let her answer this question first.
Yeah, no, I know. I'm gonna ask after this. Don't worry.
Okay.
Oh, don't worry about it. Why are you putting me on the spot, bro? Relax.
Sorry.
That's
You were
okay. Yeah, so plant care was definitely a huge part of self-care for me. Not just like being able to see my plants grow, but like just the magic of being able to nurture something and know that like if it wasn't for you and your presence and your actions, like that plant would not be alive and would not be thriving. Like I don't know, there's just something really powerful about that. It's just very fulfilling in itself. And not only that, like plants for me, like I was saying before, is really a reflection of how I'm caring for myself, right? So like when I am neglecting myself, I am definitely neglecting my plants as well. And it's just been like a really good mirror into my own personal mental health because like I said, like it's just like a mirror for me and how I'm caring for myself. But not only that, like plants in itself, like when you're doing any type of maintenance plant tasks, like say wiping down leaves, spraying it down, repotting, anything like that, that is literally like my ultimate form of self-care because I will turn on a podcast, turn on Young and Finch, and listen to some episodes and just do some like plant care because it's just like just to zone out and like do any type of plant care while listening to podcasts. Like that is my favorite way to like
That's
end a
awesome.
Sunday. Like it's there's something therapeutic about it.
Sounds so chills, honestly.
Yeah, honestly.
Yeah.
But aside from plants, other things that I've been doing to just like help with my own mindset and my own mental health, therapy for sure is a huge one. Not just plant therapy, because plant therapy is a thing in itself, but also real therapy with a therapist.
Of course.
Yeah.
Meditation has been a huge thing as well. I think plants really help you to be mindful, especially because like if you're not like just like plants in itself, like there's just so many life lessons intrinsically found in plants. Like for example, plants never rush their growth, right? Like they will grow at their own pace and you can't ever rush it. And that's the same with humans. Like you can't really rush your own
I just got
growth.
goosebumps off. Damn.
And there's just so many life lessons that you can really like, I don't know, like there's just like I'm trying to think of like other ways that I've been able to Let me think. I was kind of mentioning before that, like, plants move at their own pace, right? Like, they react to the world around them, but they're always moving at their own pace. Like, sometimes we want plants to grow faster, but ultimately they are the ones who dictate that speed. Yeah, but I'm just saying that, like plants has just really taught me a lot about patience.
Yeah.
It's just that we need to be patient before we can see results sometimes.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting how, like, I'm sure, like, you learned a lot of lessons through this new job of yours or this new passion of yours. But it's like, it's interesting that you saw something like, you learned something from it, right? Yeah, no, I just want to say that.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask because you mentioned that you have this plant therapy that you lean on to kind of calm yourself and stay zen, if you will. But having this be a part of your work as well, I imagine that it sometimes be stressful, right? Because like I hear a lot of things where if you mix passion with work, you lose that passion.
Lose the passion, yeah.
So like I'm just wondering how it's for you because you said that it's like it's therapeutic for you to, you know, wash the leaves of a plant. But I figure like if you do that like every single day, like every single minute of the hour, it'll get tedious, right?
Yeah.
So I'm just
For sure.
like how do you? I guess you said that you keep the balance, but is it therapeutic still? Like, and did you lose any of that level of therapeuticness after you introduced, you know, working with as a I'm like dragging this on, but you get what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, no, I fully get what you're saying because I like very good question, Andrew, because like there were some moments where I was like, if I come home from a long day, like I sometimes don't want to interact with my plants because I've been interacting with plants all day, right? But like how do I explain this? Like it's something where when you're mixing passion with work, I think it's really important to maintain boundaries in the sense that
Right. Okay.
like if I'm like, because even like yesterday when I was like looking at my plant collection, I was like, oh, I want to like do this one plant task, but oh, I'd have to shoot content for that. I'd have to do all this and that. And then every single plant task becomes like a chore in itself sometimes if I feel like I need to create content or always have to be on, right?
Right.
But I think making sure that I have those boundaries in those days where I'm like, this day is purely for myself and not for my business, like, and if that involves plant care, then so be it.
Right.
But I'm gonna make sure that I'm not gonna go into it thinking that I need to film content for it, or like I'm purely doing it because I want to do it and not because I think that my community might benefit, right?
Right. How do I'm curious? How do you create those boundaries? Like I know like each individual entrepreneurs have their own boundaries that they personally adhere to.
Yep.
But like what is yours, if you don't want me sharing?
No, for sure. I'm still working on this, so I can't be like I'm on the other side and like I have these strict boundaries and I always adhere to them. Like it's not like that. It's definitely like a transient boundary. I think just being able to it's so much easier said than done, right?
Like do you have hours? Do you have like set days that you work or like a schedule?
Yes.
Yeah, do you have weekends?
Yeah. Yes and no.
or is it like fluid? Yeah, I mean, if it's fluid, it's fine, right? I'm just curious.
So
curiosity.
the thing is, I'm still like playing around with this because it wasn't until like literally last week where I started implementing more like time blocking stuff.
Right.
I thought that I could be the type of person that could like be spontaneous and like go with the flow and like do whatever I feel called to do that day, but like that shit don't work for me at all.
You need some sort of structure.
You do. You really do. At least I do. Because sure, like for the people who can be spontaneous like that and still get work done, like all the power to you. But just I was lying to myself and thinking that like if I didn't have a schedule, I'd be fine. But like in the past couple of weeks, I've been playing around with like time blocking and like just making sure that like not having like a strict boundary like of like, okay, from like 9 to 10 I'm working on this and I have to do that.
Right.
Like no, like it's more like Tuesdays and Thursdays are my client days. Like that's when I take calls. That's when I'm if they're in-person calls, then if they're in-person visits, then I make sure that I know it's either going to be scheduled on a Tuesday or Thursday. So I usually block those days off. And then like Mondays and Wednesdays are usually my more admin computer days. I like to call them my potato days because because I don't have to like look good. I don't have to like I can just like roll out of bed and like do work and it's fine.
Oh, you're the
right?
potato.
Who did you think was the potato?
I thought your head was the potato. Like your mind is it mindless, like potato mind? But
Oh.
that's what it is.
No, I am the potato. Because like especially because like when I was saying that Tuesdays and Thursdays are my client facing days, like if I don't have a client scheduled for that day, then I will still get up, do my makeup, get ready because they're usually my content creation days, right? And so just having those type of days kind of laid out kind of keeps me on track.
Yeah.
But I'm saying like kind of hesitantly because things pop up, things are transient, like things will pop up, but
Yeah.
just being able to have those boundaries in place just keeps you sane. And another major thing that I want to say, I always say to I'm always very transparent with my plant community, and I just always like whenever I'm feeling like off or I'm feeling like I'm going through something, I sometimes feel inclined to like share it with my audience because not that like I owe it to them, but like it's almost like therapeutic for myself to like talk through it into my audience and like just like sometimes who knows, like someone might need to hear that, like someone might need to hear that I'm struggling and that's okay, like and just like showing up even though I'm struggling or showing up even though I might not want to show up or just like showing up and being in all my realness is and if that can help someone because they feel less alone in their feelings, like that's great. I don't know where I was going with this. You were mentioning something. I don't know how I got into that.
The question was like the boundaries.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Okay, so that brought up something because when it was actually after our camping trip. I kind of like reassessed like how often I felt like I needed to be on and answering DMs and just like, cause like I feel like I had this internal self-imposed pressure where I felt like I needed to be answering or like being on 24/7. Like I needed to be answering all my DMs. I needed to be answering comments, but like that's not healthy for me and it doesn't serve my community because if I'm burning myself out, then I'm of no service to anyone, right?
Yeah.
So like I let my community know, like I was like, I'm not going to be responding to DMs as quickly. I'm still going to be here sharing my journey with you guys, but like just to let you know, like I'm investing more of my time into my paid community, the people who value my work and my experiences and stuff like that. So just letting them know that and like that had a very like positive response because people understand that I'm human. People understand that there's humans behind these businesses, right?
I'm sure they appreciated the honesty too, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I really do appreciate that about my community and just being able to share so freely with them.
Yeah, that's tough. All that freedom of being an entrepreneur, it's, I think it's tough where to draw the lines of boundaries and what's, productive and what's counterproductive at a certain point too, right? So.
Because in my mind, a year ago, I thought that productivity was, doing work, doing anything that was involved with work, right? But sometimes productivity can literally be you resting, right? Like that can be productive too.
Definitely.
And just kind of unlearning what productivity really means. I really don't like the word productivity because it...
Yeah, it's like the hustle culture,
Yeah, it's a toxic hustle culture.
Yeah.
It's toxic. It is.
Yeah.
I think we touched
toxic.
on that a bit too, like the whole grinding trend. It's good. It started off good, but I think there's definitely some negative aspects to it for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah. To bring it back a bit more towards the plant itself, we mentioned we're, Young and Finch, Andrew, Brian, and myself, we are all plant noobs. For any listeners, some of your followers, some of our followers, maybe some of someone's followers, none of ours, if they're getting into or they want to get into plants, they've seen your content, they saw your reels, they say, hey, that looks pretty good. What's the best place to start? If you have any words of advice.
Can I add on to that question? It's like can you, while answering that, try to advertise yourself and differentiate, like tell us what differentiates you from other services.
And while you're doing that, can you juggle with 3 hands? And no, I'm kidding.
Well, damn. Okay, I will try.
No pressure. No pressure.
Yeah, you don't have to. If it's too much, you don't have to do it.
Okay. Let me get a sip of water first. It's kind of toasty in here.
Because I feel like you mentioned your like your clientele, your demographic is kind of like new plantists. I don't know if that's a word. Sorry, like noobs who are trying to get into plants, beginner plant caretakers. Sorry. New plant mommies, new plant daddies. So I'm sure you have kind of like a set regimen or like a 5-step process. Like maybe if it's not like so like explicitly set out, you know what I mean? Like you've probably been through this so many times already.
Yes, but also no. Yes, but like the reason I was saying no is because like it's so different from client to client. Like of course I have like a foundation and like a framework of what I'll ask, but like humans are so unique. Like every client is so different, and like even though I do like have like set beginner plants that I usually would recommend, like it like different people are like different. How do I phrase this?
Different people have different needs.
Yeah.
Different people have different tastes in plants, right? Like some people like vining plants, some people like really bushy, full looking plants, some people like the tree type looking plants, right? Like whatever that is, like it I try to like cater it to their aesthetic and their wants and needs. Okay. But at the same time, for my plant people out there, they'll get this joke. You guys might not. But if like you have a north-facing window and you live on like the 3rd floor of a building and it's completely obstructed and you basically get no natural light and you want a fiddle leaf fig, it's not happening. Like
it's not happening.
Like it's not happening.
I get that.
Fiddle leaf fig for you.
I got that. That's hilarious.
Like, fiddle on out of here. You know what I'm saying?
That's hilarious.
Thank you for laughing at my joke. But you feel me, then, like...
Yeah, no, 100%. I get it. So for, like, this is, like, a general introduction, like, general guide or, like, recommendation tips for, like, typical 9-to-5 yuppies that just want to get into it. What's, like, the best place to start?
Okay, first off, I'm going to debunk the myth because I feel like a lot of people, their very first introduction into houseplants is getting succulents, and I'm like, why? Because first off, I mean, Josh, like
succulent.
Andrew, when we were at Waterloo in SLC, like I swear there were always like pop-up shops of like, and they were always selling succulents. Like
there were
right
in SLC,
like,
there were
right. What's a succulent? Like they're like the more smaller succulent. Oh my god, I can't use the word in the definition.
The more succulent plants.
They're like cacti. They have more thicker leaves. They're more in like desert areas.
Yeah, kind of like aloe plants, almost like baby aloe plants, kind of.
Yes,
but not really.
Aloe plant is
like
a type
leafier.
of succulent, actually.
Yeah. Oh, is it?
Yeah, it is.
Is a succulent like a taste that you described? Food?
Yeah, they taste succulent. If you just try one
too. Yeah.
Literally look up succulents and you'll see what I mean.
But they're like more. If I hear succulent, all I like think of is like the meme where it's like noise. That's what I think of.
Dirty.
Sorry.
Wait, so you're saying you should not get a succulent to start?
Well, like, I feel like a lot of the clients that I talk to, like, their first introduction into the houseplant world are succulents. And I'm like, they're not the most
Is that cringe?
beginner-friendly plant, is what I'll say.
Interesting.
Because, yeah, like, and it's funny because, like, even though succulents are, like, their gateway into the houseplant world, like, it's not the most beginner-friendly because... Well, succulents, cacti, they need a lot of light to thrive, right? And I feel like a lot of beginner plant parents, from my experience, especially the ones that like really want to do well, they may tend to overwater those plants. And succulents and cacti, like they do not like to be overwatered. Like they like to be, their soil needs to be as crispy as KFC before they are watered again. But like new plant parents might not know that. They might think like, oh, I need to water this every day for it to grow,
that's what I would've
right?
done.
Right, like it's intuitive. Like that's intuitively what you think, right? But like especially with succulents, like they do not. Like think about cacti that live in the Sahara Desert. Like they literally go through months of drought, right? So their leaves are so much thicker, so they're able to retain that water and moisture within their leaves. So that's why they're able to go through those drought periods. Whereas like other type of tropical houseplants, they are more resilient when it comes to overwatering, or sorry, they're more resilient in essence. And so succulents, not the most beginner friendly houseplant. Right. And plus they're, I don't know, that's my own opinion, is that they're not the greatest plant in general. Like I think they're
Nice to look at?
Yeah, they're just kind of like,
You think they're ugly?
a little bit. Like
Plant community hot news. PlantMahMah thinks succulents are dirty.
honestly, I think it's
No,
like
I'm
a
kidding.
common thing within the houseplant world. Like if like I've seen memes about it where people are like, "Oh, what kind of plants do you have?" And then they'll be like, "Oh, I'm really into succulents," and then they'll be like, bye." It's like a thing. It's a thing within the plant world because like
That's hilarious.
I don't know. Yeah, they just don't do it for me. They just personally they don't do it for me.
The plant community, there's no discrimination unless you're a succulent.
Exactly.
Okay, so succulents, not super friendly.
Not super beginner friendly. Yeah.
So
Okay.
basically, succulent, ew. That's what I'm
Couldn't
getting.
have said it better myself. Do you have any other like tips for beginner planters?
Yes.
Plantees?
Yes.
Plant
Let me
moms?
finish I guess like the beginner plants that I would kind of recommend.
Yeah, sure.
Because even if you don't have, okay, well, first off, light is king. Like any type of plant you get is always determined by the amount of light that you have, right? Like if any plant says like low light, it doesn't mean that it thrives in low light. It just tolerates low light better than other plants do, right? So the reason that I usually recommend snake plants or ZZ plants to beginner plant parents is because they are low light tolerant. So, I mean, especially if I'm coming into your home to style it, like I'm definitely not gonna put that plant into a low light area.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna want it to thrive in your home, so I'm gonna put it in the brightest spot in your home. But the reason I recommend them a lot for beginner plant parents is because they're just very resilient and forgiving. Like literally my snake plant and my ZZ plants, I will go sometimes months without remembering to water it and they will still bounce back. Like they are completely fine. They really do thrive off neglect. Okay, maybe not thrive, but they're fine with neglect.
Sorry, that was snake plant and CC plant?
ZZ plants. Like it stands for I can't pronounce it.
ZZ?
ZZ plant. ZZ.
Oh, ZZ. Okay.
Yeah. Stands for
ZZ by Kodak Black.
What the?
I'm sorry, I had to.
That's how much we know about
Zamioculcas zamiifolia. That's what that stands for, but just everyone calls it ZZ plant. And then another very easy plant that I would recommend for everyone is any type of pothos, like your golden pothos, your regular green pothos. Like there's just so many different types of pothos that are really great because they're vining plants, so they grow so easily, and I feel like they're very beginner friendly.
Is that the
So
shit
I
that
think
like grows in like sticks to walls and just like keeps
That's
growing?
ivy.
Oh.
That's ivy usually. But pothos can grow up walls too, but just not in our climates.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, sweet.
Does that answer the question, or do you want me to
no,
go
I think
more
that's a good place to
into-
start. No
Okay.
succulents, ZZ plants, snake plants, and pothoses are
Yes.
beginner friendly. And for
Yes.
any other questions and inquiries, you can find Tiffany Mah at
Yes.
PlantMahMah on Instagram, on TikTok, and anywhere you can find her. Before we wrap up, I want to do some rapid fire questions real quick with you, Tiff. We like to
Okay.
do this with some of our guests just so that our listeners can get a more, just learn more about the guests. And in your case, I think a lot of your followers and your audience would like to know maybe some of these questions as well. So just really quick, just boom, boom, boom off the top of your head.
Sure.
Plant mom or cat mom?
Cat mom.
That comes first?
Oh wait, I thought when I thought of cat, I thought you said dog. I don't know why. Because I thought you were saying cat or dog. That's hard.
It's okay. You don't need to justify.
Yeah, you just gotta choose one.
Yeah,
Just gotta
I'm
choose
sorry,
one.
mooncake,
Yeah.
plants.
Oh! For the record, Tiff has what breed is Mooncake?
He's a Maine Coon.
A Maine Coon cat. Super fluffy. We'll add it in the Instagram post for this
Very
episode.
fluffy. Very chunky.
Next question. What's your MBTI personality type?
ENFP. I am the
Ooh.
campaigner.
Okay, campaigner. Your favorite food when you're hungover?
Ooh, pho.
Pho.
It's gotta be pho. Yeah.
Yes.
Classic. If you could only listen to one artist for the rest of your life, who would it be?
First, don't hate me for this, Andrew, but first artist that comes up is Drake.
I love Drake.
Hey, we love Drake.
Oh wait, who was it that
Josh
doesn't
hates
like
Drake.
Drake?
What do you mean? I'm bigger fan than both of you guys combined.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What's the most expensive plant that you own?
Oh, and how much is it? No pressure. You don't have to answer that, actually.
Oh god, you guys see, because you're not in the plant community, you're gonna be like, what?
No,
the
just
No. I hear plants all the time from my coworkers, and my coworker dropped a bag on that.
like some plants can be hella expensive.
Yes.
I'm
Okay.
sure.
The most that I've personally spent on a plant. Make sure my boyfriend.
Drum roll, please.
Oh man. Okay, I don't even want to say this.
just give it a range, not like the
Yeah.
hard number.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think what the rare plant was. Cause I just spend too much money on plants. Okay. It was $450 on a Monstera elbow.
Oh, it's not that
Oh yeah,
bad.
but monsteras are supposed to be. I'm not a plant person, but I know monsteras are expensive.
I was expecting like 1,000 or like 2,000.
I haven't gone there yet. I feel like once I opened that, it's just.
Wait,
it
there's
leads-
plants that cost thousands of dollars?
Oh, there's plants that cost like tens of thousands of dollars.
All right.
Didn't
so,
you post a reel
Yeah.
that was like a plant that got auctioned off for like 200,000 or some shit like that?
300,000 actually
fucked.
before.
What
Yeah.
the fuck?
Apparently it was rigged, or like there was trolls that were bidding, but like plants can still be privately sold for like 50K.
Yeah.
I'm in the wrong business, yo.
So, plant investing is the next
Fuck crypto for a stock market.
invest in succulents, guys.
Yes, do that.
Oh man.
Bitcoins? More like Bush coins. Sorry.
Last question: would you rather have nipple length fingers or finger length nipples? And I want Andrew and Brian to get on that one too. Nipple length fingers.
Nipple
or
length fingers.
finger length-
Nipple length fingers.
Nipple
length
length
fingers.
fingers.
You can't use your
Nipple
hands
length
then.
I know.
You can't use your hands.
I'll have no hands.
You'd be like that small hand meme.
Actually, no. I'll be.
Yeah, you'd be like that.
No, I'll be finger length.
Length nipples.
Yeah.
You have to do it. I would have to do that.
Because I want my hands.
Finger length nipples.
You have to
bro.
do it, but like otherwise you can't use your hands.
I'll have to like. You know what? You know those clown balloons. You know how you like roll it up. I'll do that and then tape it.
Yeah, I would go with the nipples. I'll just press
I
it down
guess-
with my t-shirt and make
Yeah,
it
just
look like I
tape
have
it.
pecs.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it's more difficult for men because you're free the nipple, but
Like the Family Guy
yeah, I think I would.
episode.
I choose the nipples too. I think.
Yeah.
All right, let the record show Tiff Mom wants finger length nipples.
Over
I'm kidding.
nipple length fingers.
Can.
Tiff, thanks for coming on, man.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, guys. It's been so fun.
I'm sure a lot of our listeners, especially my coworkers, are gonna love listening to this episode because this is all they talk about.
Yeah.
I feel like me and your coworkers would get along.
Yes, exactly. Come work with me.
All right, guys. It was nice talking to Tiff Mah here, PlantMahMah, or PlantMah, sorry. Just seeing how she came to be about her business and her following her passion. It was very interesting, and hope you guys found it interesting as well.
If you guys resonated with anything that we said in our podcast, you can DM us at our Instagram. And if you guys have any questions about your plans, you could always message Tiff. We will link her Instagram in her bio.
And if you like the episode and if you enjoy the podcast, don't forget to give us a follow on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. You can find our YouTube link in our link in bio. We will try to post some more fun content there. But we like to stay engaged. So, give us a follow. Keep up with us.
Yes, sir. And we'll catch you guys next time. Peace.
Peace, you guys.
I get those goosebumps every time.
I want a Venus flytrap.
What about penis flytrap?
I'll give you a penis flytrap.
That's disgusting.
And Jordy has a penis flytrap.
Can we use that as a cookie? All right. Sorry, Tiff, you're back?
No, give me 1 second.
No worries. Anyways, back to penis
Sorry.
flytrap.
I think I had a
Luke is on
cactus
the
from
chair.
IKEA before, but I couldn't keep out
Was
of
it
that.
real?
Cactus are like one of the hardest plants to kill. It was real, but it was like those really
Hardest
tiny
plants.
ones.
Yeah.